Hey yo, what's good? It's your boy Mixtape Moth, and today I'm gonna hit y'all with a review of the new Nas and Hit-Boy album entitled Magic. Let's get to it. Alright, so Nas is an iconic veteran MC coming out of Queensbridge, and there's no need for a lengthy introduction, as Nas is regarded as one of the greatest rappers to ever pick up a mic. 30 years deep in the game, he continues to stay relevant, remain hungry, and set new standards for OG rappers in hip hop, and he's living proof that ageism in rap should not exist. Now, over the course of the last couple of years, Nas has worked exclusively with Hit-Boy. There have been some older fans of traditional boom bap that have been critical of Hit-Boy's glossier, bigger, and more expensive production sound. These folks would prefer that Nas work again with legendary producers like Pete Rock and DJ Premier, and while I'm sure that would be really dope, the reality is that Hit-Boy is the one who inspired Nas to reinvent himself late in his 40s and to rap with the hunger of an unsigned artist. It wasn't Primo or Pete Rock who did this, respectfully. I mean, these are just the facts. But getting right into this brand new project entitled Magic, it is the second album from Nas in 2021, and it came as a surprise right before Christmas. Now, prior to Magic, Nas had already secured a spot in my top 5 albums from the year with his impressive King's Disease 2, but here he goes at the last minute dropping an album just in time to mess everyone's list up. But this project only contains 9 tracks and lasts approximately 29 minutes. The cover art features an image of a younger Nas, probably from around the Illmatic era. All tracks are produced by Hit-Boy, and the only features are ASAP Rocky and scratches from the venerable DJ Premier on one song. But with that being said, let me go ahead and just hit y'all with this track-by-track breakdown. The opening song, Speechless, is easily the strongest opening song out of all the 3 Nas and Hit-Boy albums. It has an ethereal and otherworldly instrumental that sounds like a quintessential Nas beat. It does give me somewhat of an I Am Nostradamus era feel, but sonically much better than the production on Nostradamus. Nas opens the track up with the lines, "I'm 21 years past the 27 club. It's like I went back into my past and then I sped it up." So this theme of going back in time or shifting between eras is revisited throughout this album, and I love the cadence Nas uses here also. This has a strong hook with a lot of vivid imagery, so that was great. Nas reaches out to the youth a couple of times on this track, which I feel is very critical, and I wish more OGs did the same thing. He states, "I got a proposition. You and your brother stop plotting on each other, plot on millions, educating yourself, find 10 different areas of interest, and I told Dunn, leave the street shit behind. Don't let them hype you. A slow run beats cheating the grind." So it's some very level-headed and sound advice that the younger generation and the streets could absorb. But yeah, overall, this was a strong way to open up the album. Track 2, Meet Joe Black, has more of an up-tempo and punchy instrumental. The beat is tense, but still drenched in that bouncy funk. Nas sets it off with the strong opening lines. "Why would I ever have to cop a chain again when the QB chain birthed most of the chains in the game?" Here, he's talking his talk, reminding folks of the gaudy, oversized QB medallion, which has legendary significance in the realm of rapper chains. It seems like Nas is in battle mode on this record, even though the target is unidentified. He states, "Run me that flow back. Your top 3, I'm not the one. How could you post that? I wear the crown, the city is mine. You cannot hold that. I'm not the one to go at. You fuck around and meet Joe Black." He goes on to say, "Your most hungry place, I was past that at 28. But he also admits to being mindful of the criticism that he's received. The line, "I've been getting criticized. It keeps me energized," shows that Nas is able to put a healthy and a positive spin onto some of the negative feedback. It shows he's paying attention to what's being said. Maybe he's in the comment sections, but he's using that as fuel. So Nas and Hit-Boy slow the pace down a little bit for the following track, Ugly. The Hit-Boy production is a little melancholy, melodic, slower, but also very dusty. It sounds like Hit-Boy was channeling Pete Rock, perhaps, although there is still a slight modern twist to it. But to me, this still registers as a dusty boom bap beat, so I'd imagine purists would like it. If they don't, then I'm gonna say they're probably capping, or they just have their minds up that it's Hit-Boy, so they're not gonna like it. Now, on this record, Nas reflects on all the violence, the homicides, and the trauma that we face in this world daily. He paints the picture best with the following lines. They call my city Gotham, opposite of pretty. Weathermen cannot predict bullets raining from out the 50. It's ugly outside. Big L would have been here if it wasn't. Even though it's been so long ago, this is a reminder that Big L did die as a victim of gun violence. The message on this record is for the youth to stay dangerous, but to also stay out of the way. But one of the most powerful lines for me in this song is the following. JMJ seen him coming, wish he ain't hit the buzzer. Marvin Gaye to Young Dolph. We taking out our brothers, distorted faces, solemn features, we killing each other. Now, this shows that Nas wrote this recently, as he mentioned the killing of Young Dolph. It is also in the song where Nas alerts us that KD3 is on the way, and this album is just to simply feed the buzz. But altogether, this was a great song with some thought-provoking content. The tempo picks back up on the following track, 4016. This Hit-Boy beat is urgent with a darker soul sample that sounds like something out of that Frank Lucas 70s Heron era. We also get some nostalgic scratching on the hook that will likely put one in mind of Illmatic. But this record is named after the building where Nas grew up at in Queensbridge, which is the largest housing project in America and one of the most historic hoods in hip hop. Nas opens this up with, I got so many kids in the game, it's like a gender revealing. We know Nas clearly fathered many styles in the game. There's no denying that. He also raps, start a company from one of my phrases. We in the age of letting dumb shit kill your kingdom. Body bags for no reason. And it's the ones you grew up with that's with the dumb shit. They want you slumped cause you getting love. Ain't that some shit? Again, he's addressing this senseless violence that we see too frequently in hip hop and with the youth. And this made me think of the situation with Dolph, Nipsey, Slim 400, and Chinx Drugs. Right after is the track Hollywood Gangsta, which has a playful and whimsical boom bap beat. Traditionalists should have no problem with this production also, but if they do, I'm calling cap. Again, this record finds Nas separating himself from the Hollywood gangsters who run around with hundreds of goons. Rather, Nas, being the wise OG, moves in a much smarter and low-key manner. And at the end of the day, that's what's really gangster and will also give you the element of surprise. Nas has the clever line, everybody telling stories backwards like my song Rewind. He also talks about being relaxed in his hood without having a bunch of shooters who said I'm too comfortable around regular shit. You know I'm a rare guy, but ghetto is shit. But yeah, this was a cool track that had a nice, tuneful boom bap groove. Immediately following is Woo for the Children, which is based off ODB's iconic phrase from the Grammys where he told the crowd, Wu-Tang is for the children, and everyone was left speechless. Now, we are getting Hit-Boy entering into drumless loop territory here. The sample is dreamy, lounge-like, very mellow, and soothing with a faint soul chop. Initially, I wasn't a fan of this beat, but it did grow on me considerably. Here, Nas gets introspective, speaking on a multitude of things, but for starters, he addresses the negativity from fans who presume that rappers aren't doing enough to lift their friends and family out of poverty. He wisely points out that fans don't realize all the internal drama and the treacherous behavior that prevents artists from doing so, but they will be judged, unfortunately, either way. Nas also addresses a specific type of fan who wants him to stay creatively in one box rather than evolving, which makes me realize that there are some folks who really aren't Nas fans. I think they're just fans of Illmatic or the idea of a pure album like Illmatic. He also expresses having some regret for not having a remix verse for Biggie's Gimme the Loot. The subsequent track, Wave Gods, is likely to be the one that appeals to most traditionalists and fans of the Nas and Primo sound. While it is not produced by DJ Premier, he is featured on the scratching, which includes some notable hip-hop vocals like Raekwon, CL Smooth, Casanova Rudd, G-Rap, and Snoop. Hit-Boy does the beat, which is a dreamy soundscape that incorporates the same drum pattern that Primo used on Group Home's classic Living Proof single, a record that personifies 90s boom bap to a T. But taking it back even further, Primo got those drums from Audio 2's Top Billin'. Now, this includes a dope verse from A$AP Rocky. He's not an artist that I'm sure older heads would have loved to have been featured, but he does get busy, and this really should not come as a surprise since he can definitely rap well, especially when he's not making the poppier songs. I mean, the guy's named after Rakim, so that's got to mean something. On this one, Nas makes a bold declaration that me and Hit-Boy, they say we like the new Gangstar. I already know this is not going to go over well with the Hit-Boy critics. But Nas might not be too far off with this comparison if you think about it. I don't buy into it entirely, but times are different. While I didn't mind Rocky's inclusion on this song, it would have been even greater to have artists like Benny, Conway, or Ransom here. But it does show Nas's continued desire to bridge the gap with the youth. So Rocky does make sense here, also given the title Wave Gods is more aligned with his persona. Then what follows is easily the hardest song for me, and that's The Truth. This has the dirtiest and dingiest Hit-Boy beat on the album, and quite possibly the most rugged Hit-Boy beat that exists. Here, Nas is really tapping into that 90s aesthetic with his flow, wordplay. It's just an incredible hardcore rapping track with a raw beat. He's taking it back to the old New York. I could totally envision a remix with Ray and Ghost, as I feel this beat was made for them as well. Nas raps, Galactica Glaciers, 88 carats, immaculate pay stubs. Them guys do a crime, I drop a rhyme, it's the same rush. Also, I've been outside since $1.50 was the only way to get your face done. Doggy style, CD turn that. Murder was the case up. Thinking when I drop my first shit, I'm gonna leave your face scrunched. Then the album comes to a close with the two-part song Dedicated. Here Nas gives us 3 dope verses with the beat shift that comes after the second. The first instrumental is very smooth, including some soft background crooning and subtle scratching. It sounds like a beat that AZ would do his thing on. Nas talks thinking about karma before making his moves because it all comes back like a boomerang. He also addresses the recent smash and grab crisis in LA, as well as his displeasure with Juneteenth becoming a federal holiday while racism is still at high levels in his country. Now, the second beat is slightly darker with a lavish mafioso quality. Nas states, "Ghetto manners is you thugging me, you're asking, finessing me, you're pressing me. Well, none of that is happening. Accessory to murder, not necessarily a Manson. I'm just a G and constructs a Pelly Pal or a Vanson." It's fire vintage Nas. Overall, I give this project a rating of a strong 4 mics to a 4.5. I'm probably just going to round up to a 4.5 mics, but no more than 4.5, as I feel this is on par with King Disease 2, but possibly a little better. The Hit-Boy production this time around was a little more traditional and boom bap inspired with less synths, but still enough low end for the youth to enjoy. At only 9 tracks, this resembles more of an EP than an album, but it plays extremely well from front to back, and there are no skip-worthy tracks. So in that sense, it did exceed my expectations. On the lyrical front, Nas's flow and delivery is even sharper than some of his material on King's Disease 2. I suppose if there was ever a question of Nas's lyrical performance on the King's Disease series, he definitely did his best to silence those critics on this album, as he is rapping like he still has one foot in the trenches, and it's something that he doesn't even need to do at this stage in his life, but he loves hip-hop so much that he continues to do it, which is truly an inspiration. It's really motivating to see an artist of Nas's age and stature continue to go so hard while he could easily recline with his feet up like some other legends who remain very aloof. With this magic record, Nas and Hit-Boy are now 3 for 3, and it serves as a strong indication that King's Disease 3 will not disappoint and perhaps be even greater than the second one. I guess this Magic album isn't too bad for just serving to feed a buzz. My favorite tracks include Speechless, Ugly, 4016, Woo for the Children, Wave Gods, and The Truth. Let me know what you thought about this album in the comment section below. It's your boy Mixtape Moth. I'm signing out, but be sure to hit that like button and please subscribe. As always, it's peace and blessings. Nas, Hit-Boy, Magic 1.